All right, so Bishop asked me, the first thing he said when I got back from Cleveland was talked about the football play. He called it a touchdown Seahawks game, all this kind of stuff. Last night I watched the play live, and I proceeded to stay up till 3 watching SportsCenter, listening to former umpires, referees, umpires for baseball for some reason, and and tweets from different players and things like that. And it comes down to this. Let me just put it as simply as possible, because it seems like everybody has an opinion on this matter. Rightfully so. This is one of the bigger sporting events to happen probably in my lifetime that's outside of like a championship or something like that. This is something that will be replayed 20 or 30 years from now, and I will be able to say, oh, I watched that live. Can you believe they did this? But everybody seems to be like, oh, I can't believe the referees. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened in last night's play. This is identical. There's nobody else out there who can say exactly what happened like I can. All right, first and foremost, from a football play, you don't look at what was on the ruling on the field. You don't look at what they called. Just the mechanics of the football play. Throw the pass. Blah. Was it a offensive pass interference? Yes, it was. Now, I will say, though, that how many times have you seen an offensive pass interference called on a Hail Mary? You just don't see it happening. The only reason that everybody's making a big deal about last night is because it actually ended up being a touchdown that won the game. But if you go back and you look through all these other Hail Marys at the ends of games, offensive people push and shove. Was that a little bit more blatant? Was Golden Tate's push a little bit more blatant? Sure. Okay, but I'm not as worried about that as I'm talking about the actual catch. When you look at the rules of the game, that was an interception. It was. If you look at exactly what the rules state, it was an interception. However, I'm here to give a little bit of dignity to the referees and defend them just a tiny bit, and here's why. If you watch the game, you will hear Mike Tirico as Golden Tate is coming down with the ball, and they're wrestling in mid-air come down. He states that both players have come down simultaneously with the ball. And here's an announcer who clearly knows the rules, who even used the word simultaneously the first time he saw it. So we're all now being, 24 hours after the fact, we're looking at it for our 55th and 56th time, all right? We understand, we got it, all right? However, if Mike Tirico on his first watch can say they came down simultaneously, shouldn't we defend this umpire or referee? Then again, baseball umpires are in the game. Referee or line judge for his call? I mean, here's a guy who may or may not be a high school teacher somewhere, who didn't or couldn't get a job as a collegiate referee or line judge, and now all of a sudden he's thrust into the limelight of the NFL. So he sees, at least the one that called a touchdown, he sees two players come down that look like to be simultaneous catch, and he thinks in his head, probably, oh, I read the rule, I was told the rule about simultaneous catch goes to, bam, offense. He rules touchdown. Now the other guy, the one who ruled a touchback, he's from the back. He sees that Golden Tate doesn't have as much possession, and he might think to himself, okay, clearly the Packers have the interception, so I'm going to rule touchback. When they come together, they look at each other, and if you look carefully, they look at each other, and as the guy goes up for a touchback, the one who called a touchdown does it, but they don't meet eye to eye. I don't even know if they knew that they both called opposite calls after they looked at each other for once. So then what happens? Okay, now the head referee has to come down, and they have to decide what is the ruling on the field. Now, meanwhile, look at all the commotion that's going on in the end zone. You got Seahawks players running over Pete Carroll's, for some reason, allowed in the end zone, jumping, dancing around, whatever he was doing. And Golden Tate actually ends up with the ball when the pile gets separated. Now, I know that doesn't mean anything, but to a referee who's looking at the situation, you've got a huge, one of the loudest crowds in the NFL. Seattle is one of the toughest places to play. You've got this huge crowd going crazy because the Seahawks just won the game. You've got Seahawks players in the end zone giving high fives. You have Pete Carroll dancing around again. And they have to make a decision of, okay, who saw what? So let's say both referees or line judges, back judge and line judge, came to the head referee and said, I saw a touchback, I saw a touchdown. Why did you see each? Here's what could have possibly been said. Back judge says, I saw the Packers guy come down with the ball. He appeared to have the ball a little bit more than the other one. Okay? Line judge is going to say, well, I saw a simultaneous come down, and as we know, the rule says simultaneously, even though it really wasn't, simultaneously, offensive player gets it. We need to call a touchdown. They're thinking to themselves, we got to make this call right, because if we make this call wrong, we're going to be sacrificed in Seattle. And so in their minds, they made the safer call, or what they believed was the right call. Maybe they did. These aren't professional refs. And they call a touchdown, thinking it's the safe call. On the field, the ruling was a touchdown. Meanwhile, there's chaos and confusion everywhere. So they make the call. Well, it's a scoring play. So here's where people are getting so upset. They're getting so upset that how could they not overturn the call, blah, 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 blah. The replay referees are not replacement replay referees. These are the same replay referees that the NFL has used for years. But when you replay a scoring play, all you can replay is, was it or not a scoring play? Not whether or not this person or that person came down with the ball. It's, was it a scoring play? And in essence, it was a touchdown. Did Golden Tate have possession of the ball and come down with his feet in bounds and score a touchdown? Yes, he did. But ESPN even agrees with me. But the Packers player had more of a possession. So technically, he did get the interception. But they can't replay that in the replay. If it's a scoring play, all they can say is, was the ruling of the field confirmed? Ruling of the field is a touchdown. It can't say, did we get the call right of the ruling on the field and it should be an interception? They can't say that. All they can do with a scoring play was his feet out of bounds? Did he have full possession on the way down? Did he juggle it? Different things like that. They can't call a pass interference play or the call on an offense on a replay, and they can't overturn their original touchdown. They can either say touchdown or no touchdown. And when you look at the mechanics of him holding onto the ball, having possession and landing, it was a touchdown if you take the Packers defender out of the way, which is what they had to rule. They had to stand by their guns, which is why the NFL, again, today, had to stand by it. Because once you open up one questionable call and the NFL apologizes or says, we got that wrong, well, especially in this volatile, media, storm-driven, we hate replacement referees, if they were to apologize for that, what is that going to do for the rest of the season, next week? It's going to open up, every play is going to be questionable, everybody's going to want an apology from the NFL for every missed call. You just can't do that. Do I think the NFL is handling this all wrong? Yes, I do. And to wrap it up, honestly, they need to pay the money and get the regular referees back, because otherwise they're going to lose this season. And whether or not people come and watch it, even if the replacement referees, I'll be honest, I watched more football coverage last night after that game than I probably have all year, and maybe in the few years past besides the Super Bowl. So it got me to watch. Now, if I was a Packers fan, would I be pretty upset? Sure, I would be. I don't like Pete Carroll, so I have no horse in this race, if you will. Ultimately, it comes down to this. You can't replay it. You can't overturn it in the replay. If the Packers had a challenge, they could have thrown the challenge flag, and that could have been overruled. Because then you can actually look at the mechanics of the play and see, okay, this was not simultaneous possession. It was an interception. Because they didn't, and because the game ended up over, all they could replay was a ruling on the field confirmed? Was it a touchdown? Yes, it was. Should it have been called a touchdown in the first place? No, but it's not because he was out of bounds or they missed the call. And that's it. That's the best way I can explain it. This is a little long, and I apologize. You probably heard this 100 times from 100 different people. If you feel like I'm wrong in any manner, please let me know, and I'll be the first one to concede a point or to say that I'm wrong. Until the next botch call, this is Niehaus No Sports.
Ew.